I got this one requested or so. It says, "Is this the average male fantasy?" What do you mean? Oh, I know this girl. She advocates on, like, you know, loving men and everything, you know. I remember seeing one of her videos before.
Men. What do they want? Money? Status? Fast, expensive cars? What is the ultimate male fantasy? Is it fame?
A woman, like a normal woman that would love him forever and ever and ever. You know? That's basically is what it is, you know? Ah, jeez.
Fortune? 3 hot chicks at once? Hell yeah, brother.
No, according to men on the internet, it's something a little more simple.
Yeah, a loving companion.
This is literally just a fetish. I fucking hate men so much.
What the
Men
fuck?
are why we can't have nice things.
She
As I was
admitted that
working
she
on an
watches
upcoming video, I made the
VTubers.
terrible
She watches VTubers.
mistake of logging onto Twitter, where I saw this post. A
saw
montage
this
from the
post too
anime
as well.
Josie, the Tiger, and the Fish, a movie about a college student who is assigned to take care of a paraplegic girl, and spoiler, eventually they fall in love. Many men were
That's
posting
cute.
in the replies of this tweet and talking about how they wish to fall in love and would love a relationship like this, while many others, mostly women, were absolutely fucking disgusted at this.
They're probably some fat bitches or so, to be honest, who literally can't even get a man, you know? So that's probably the reason why. It's because their relationship statuses are pretty terrible.
Why would a bunch of men be fantasizing about being with a woman in a wheelchair? Seems pretty creepy and predatory, right? Also just unrealistic and problematic. Well, in this video, we are going to be talking about why so many men resonated to that clip and this movie, and
That's
why
cute.
so many
That's
people
cute. That's
are so
adorable.
confused as to why. We are also going to be reading some absolutely unhinged tweets, as usual, to get to the bottom of why such a wholesome post turned into, once again, another battlefront for the ongoing, never-ending gender war. Men versus women, women versus men, the male loneliness epidemic, the female loneliness epidemic, the dealing with dating apps. Do men prefer thin women or curvy women? Brunettes or blondes? Do women like dad bods or fit men? Do they like beards or clean-shaven? Oh yeah, that reminds me. Let's quickly get into today's sponsor, Henson Shaving.
Wow.
You ever just accept that some products are
wow,
just
that's
garbage? Like, for
crazy,
years I
you
thought
know?
ripping your tights on the first wear was just a part of being a human
really?
woman. We just
Really?
accepted that.
Oh, I
That's
didn't
just
know
I am
about
not
that.
an anime connoisseur.
Anyways.
In fact, I basically know nothing about anime. I am probably the most tourist of all the tourists.
I'm not allowed to have a hot bod. Oh, really? You're not allowed to have one? I have to have a dad bod? Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, hi. I have a question. Was the upskirt shot necessary in order to advance the plot? I watched Pokemon and Sailor Moon when I was a kid, and a few years ago I
Hey,
watched
Sailor
Beastars on
Moon.
Netflix. Legoshi, best boy. Not a furry, by the way. And honestly, that's about it for my anime consumption. Unless you're counting VTubers. If you're counting VTubers, I watch a lot of anime. But because of this clip going
VTuber.
viral, I watched Josie, the Tiger, and the Fish, and, well,
It's a father figure. You know what? You're right, to be honest. There's nothing wrong. I don't know. There's nothing wrong with a dad bod, you know?
But it was a good movie. I recommend watching it. I thought it was a really cute, good story. I only cried a little bit. And I completely understood what the tweet meant by calling it the average male fantasy. So, what was wrong with it? Why did this clip go so viral in such a negative way? Why were thousands of people angry at this post? Well, let us dilly-dally no longer and read some of these angry replies to get a better understanding of what the
Yeah,
issue
but you gotta make sure you're at least healthy, you know, Sage. At the end of the day, you gotta be healthy.
is, shall we? Wholesome male fantasy, and it's fetishizing a disabled girl for him to control. Oh,
What the fuck?
Oh no. They think, oh god, why?
Always vulnerable, always happy, always needs you. Pretty perverted.
Where are these fan fictions coming from? There were like hundreds of tweets just like this. Why did they see a cute montage of a happy couple, a man and a woman
That is
happy
not healthy
together?
whatsoever.
I know, unheard of. Why did they see that and then immediately come to these conclusions? Like, as someone who actually watched the movie, Josie is not always happy. And she's absolutely not portrayed as some, like, vulnerable, ooh-woo, sex doll waifu. She's boisterous, she kind of has a foul mouth, she's very sassy and headstrong. She, like, straight up calls him her servant. But she was also very depressed. She basically never left her house.
Yeah.
She was basically a girl failure. As a former girl failure, I love to see representation in media. But they actually show her disability, like, not in a good way. Like, they don't romanticize it, they don't sugarcoat it. And I noticed, unlike a lot of movies, unlike a lot of romance movies, at least like the Hallmark kind, where it's like the stuffy male lead learning to live life from the quirky, cute female lead, he's already got his shit together. And she learns to live life from him. He encourages her to live her dreams. And in return, he learns to live life in a completely different way. And I thought that was really cool and sweet. Also, the animation was really good. Is anime good? Have I been sleeping on anime this entire time?
His
Yeah.
fantasy is that she becomes permanently disabled and helplessly dependent on him, but can still make him a sandwich. Sounds about right.
What?
After watching the movie, these tweets are even more insane. But even putting the movie aside, just seeing that like cute montage out of context, where the fuck are they getting this? These are very clearly just two happy people. But because the caption was the average male fantasy, their mind immediately goes to the darkest, worst faith interpretation of this.
Well, because they don't have no relationship. That's the reason why they can't get any dicks, you know? And that's why they're mad. How dare she learn something from a man? Bro, it's just like, bro, it's an anime. It's not that serious, you know? I don't know. I think like humans are programmed to have a happy ending at the end of the day, you know? If you choose to decide to be lonely and depressed all the time, well, that's your choice, you know? That just sounds like a skill issue in my personal opinion.
This. The problem is these people can't see any humanity in men. They can't see any humanity in humanity in general.
Average male fantasy equals girlfriend with no agency who's completely physically dependent on you and forced into blanket subservience and compliance. Sounds about right. You males are weird for fetishizing physically disabled women.
Huh?
Average male fantasy is
What?
having a physically disabled girl that they can abuse however they want.
What?
Got it.
Not to be that guy, I'm gonna be that guy. The infantilization of the physically disabled
jeez.
here is a little, dare I say,
Thank you for the follow.
ableist.
Welcome,
The
welcome.
implication here that people in wheelchairs cannot find love, and if they do, the person who loves them literally just loves them because they can't
Just letting you know, every time I cough or so, it's because I sense bullshit or so. What the fuck did I just hear? The usual stupid shit, you know? Men are simple as fuck. Of course they are. Of course guys are simple as fuck. I agree, but to them, they rest their whole existence on being miserable. Yeah, you know, that's why they're probably on the internet and on Twitter all the damn time, is because their fucking life is miserable, because they can't get any dicks in their lives, you know?
run away. Weird.
Average men can't even be nice to their healthy and normal girlfriend. What makes you think they'll be able to handle a disabled person as their lover?
Whoa. Normal? What do you mean by normal? These people are just so ableist, chat. Can you believe it? Chat? I don't even live stream. Who's chat?
I'm disabled, blind, so I showed this to my boyfriend. He says, I love you because you're you, and you make my days happier. So what if I have to drive you places or help you with cooking and cleaning? I would have done that anyway. Disability has nothing to do with it. I love you.
Ma'am, I don't know how to tell you this, but, your boyfriend is a rapist. Sorry you had to find out this way.
You show this as fantasy because it's not true for the majority of men who participate in abuse of disabled people. No, the fantasy is the
know, she
woman
did say
appreciates his
chat.
efforts to make her happy. Stop lying and abusing women and the disabled.
Your meds, schizo. You don't even know that fucking guy. What do you mean stop abusing women and the disabled? Bitch, who are you? Also, the majority of men participate in abuse of disabled people. Are you okay? The majority of men are not abusers. That is a very, very small minority of men.
I feel like they're just projecting at this point, you know? That's the only way I can think of, is like they're projecting from their own experience so then everyone else can feel sympathy and sorry for them, you know? Also, whenever I see them angry and on stupid things like that, I envy them. If you get upset over something so stupid, means they never really faced any hardships. Yeah.
The majority of men are men that just wake up, take a shit, get out of bed, take a shower, go to work, come home, and wait for GTA 6 to come out. That is the majority of men.
Men commit 95% of all rape, but okay.
Barging into the romance section of Barnes & Noble like, attention everyone! Rape! Where is that coming from?
So close. This is fetish.
I don't want to surprise anyone about the grape stuff, you know? But I have met some friends or so, right? Throughout my my history or so. Like, this is throughout history, right? That are into that stuff. I'm just letting you know. Hey, Gog. So, yeah, I'm just letting you guys know. Throughout history or so, out of all the girls that I've interacted or so, they're my friends and everything, right? Through history, let me remind you, through history, okay? They are into that stuff, okay? They won't say it, but they, yeah. Ask ChatGPT. What do you mean, ask ChatGPT? What's the percentage or so? Alright, let me see. I'm not gonna show this, of course. Whoa, that's crazy. Whoa, that's... Whoa, that is a high percentage, dude. That's crazy how high that percentage is. I was actually not expecting the percentage to be that high. Man, you humans are fascinating, to be honest. Do you guys want to know the percentage, chat? In, what is it? In the studies of 2014, right? In Archive of Sexual Behavior, they found that 62% of women in their sample reports have at least one fantasy involving being forced to have sex. 62% back in 2014. So here's this. As of 2025, the research that indicates that approximately 62% of women have experienced fantasies involving consensual non-consent, often referred to as grape fantasy. This figure aligns with earlier studies and underscores the prevalence of such fantasies among women. Prevalence in 2025 study involving college students, around 62% of women reported having grape fantasies. Frequency among those who have such fantasies, the median frequency was about 4 times per year, with 14% experiencing them at least once a week. Nature of fantasies. These fantasies exist on a spectrum. In the same study, 45% of women describe their grape fantasy as completely erotic, 9% as completely aversive, and 46% as both erotic and aversive. Understanding the context, it's crucial to differentiate between fantasy and desire for real life experiences. Many women who have these fantasies do not wish to experience non-consensual act in reality. Of course, no duh. These fantasies can be a way to explore themes of power, control, and surrender in a safe mental space. In consensual settings, some individuals may engage in CNC roleplay, which involves clear communication, established boundaries, and mutual trust to ensure safety and consent throughout the experience. You know, there you go. Yeah, it's called fantasy for a reason, you know? But yeah. You want to know the reason why? It's because there's a lot of women who enjoy Redo of Healer. If you guys know the anime for that one, Redo of Healer, a lot of women like Redo of Healer. So yeah, it's kind of like the step bro and step sister kind of fantasy vibe, you know. It's just a fantasy thing. It's not real, you know. It's just something that you want to try out, you know. So that's the only reason why these women here who say like, oh, you know, they want to fetishize this and that. Always remember, chat, these women like the other foreplay, okay? I like the anime. I have no problem with Redo of Healer, so. I actually enjoyed it, so.
Content.
Ah yes, the dirtiest, most taboo of all fetishes. A happy relationship. Honestly, in 2025, that might be true. Oh, you want a wife and kids? You sick fuck.
But this is literally just a perverted fantasy, LMAO.
You think it's a perverted fantasy because... How do I put this nicely? You are a pervert. Literally seeing a cute montage of a male and female character having fun together, being in love together, and being like, rape! He's a rapist!
People who actually think about that, you know, well, you know, she did pull out the word, you know, rapist or so, but like, at the end of the day, you know, these people are like thinking like that, right? They are the pervert, you know, or they are the ones who are mentally ill, you know, for them to be immediately thinking about that. And they probably want to experience that too as well. That's the problem with that.
This is a fetish! Are these people okay? Stop watching porn!
Wait, this is a woman.
Okay, stop reading Taken by the Werewolf Billionaire. Or whatever the fuck you read. I swear to God, some of the shit women read would make the most depraved internet gooner blush. Or so I've been told.
This is literally...
I already talked about that already.
Just a fetish.
Okay, listen, I'm not gonna pretend there's nobody out there who's like, she can't run away, she has no legs.
The only reason why I know this, right? Why I know a lot of this stuff is because I have friends that are into these things, you know? Throughout history, I've known girls who are into this stuff. So I fucking know from experience, okay? And if people are gonna call me out on this bullshit shit, I'll be like, maybe because you don't interact with people like normal people in society or so, and I've interacted with people like this. And this is what they fantasize. I'm like, for fuck's sakes, you know?
I'm not gonna sit here and pretend there's nobody out there who has a crippled, disabled fetish, okay? I've been on the internet for 20 years. I've been on DeviantArt. I've seen
I am ancient.
You wouldn't believe. But the majority of people, probably most, if not all the people responding to this, do not have a cripple fetish, okay? In fact, her being in a wheelchair basically has nothing to do with it. Much like how females coom over, like, vampires or, like I said before, the billionaire werewolf.
Or the werewolves. Bow.
Fantasy. This is just the average male fantasy distilled down to its most extreme. So what is the average male fantasy? The average male fantasy is the fantasy of both men and women alike. It is simply to love and to be loved. But more specifically, the male fantasy is to be a protector and a provider for those that they love.
Yeah.
Put a pin in this because we are going to come back to this in a big way, trust me.
The average male fantasy is being a globally known terrorist. The average male fantasy is that a woman who isn't fat. The average male fantasy is actually job security.
You know what? These guys may have a point here.
Pedophile alert. Men want disabled child wives. Average male fantasy is a disabled child. More proof that men are pedos. That's a little girl. This is weird.
So, first of all, she's literally older than the guy. The guy is 22 and she is 24. In anime years, he is practically hag maxing. And yes, she and she is 24. In anime years, he is practically hag max.
This is it right here. Meet the hag maxer, Gen Z's new social trend for dating older women. Damn, 20 and 37. Wow, that's a crazy ass year. That's a crazy year difference. A very strange phenomenon is making it rounds on social media. Gen Z men are ditching casual sex for their women to pursue long-term relationships with financially stable and experienced millennial ladies. Really? Quick clip it. It's for education. There it is, hag maxing or hag maxers. Never mind. Not hag maxing. It's called hag maxers. I need to put more skill points in hag maxing chat so I could become a hag maxer. Quick chat. I need more experience, okay?
Maxing. And yes, she may be physically disabled, but aren't all men mentally disabled in their own special way? At least the ones in my audience. They will freely admit this. Maybe she, the older woman, is taking advantage of this sensitive young man. Have you ever thought of that?
She looks like an 11-year-old child. Where are her breasts?
First of all,
Dumbassery.
really weird way to say that. She looks like a child. Show me her titties. Also, I love how like when anime women have huge boobs, it's disgusting, Coomer porn brain or whatever. But if the anime woman has small boobs, she is a child and you're a chimo. Can't fucking win. Also, if she had big boobs, they'd absolutely be like, wow, look at this sexualization of the disabled. Also, you know, like
they do know that like big boobs actually exist, right? They do know that, right? These women or so who are like complaining or so about like the big boobas or so, you know, they exist, you know. Maybe because they don't have any boobs. That's probably the reason why. Maybe they're flat as a fucking doorstop, you know, or like a doormat, you know. That's probably the reason why. They're just probably flat as shit, you know.
like adult women can be flat-chested, right? Like that actually exists in real life. Like adult human women can have small boobs.
Yeah, of course.
We love all titties here on the Shoe on Head channel. All titties is good
All titties is always good titties. Facts.
titties. End of story.
Women fantasy, a boyfriend with depth and a loving, soft, deeply caring side of them. Men's fantasy, 12-year-old anime girl who looks and speaks like a toddler. Also notice how she's literally the shape and size of a child. Yuck.
Have you people ever seen a child? No, you're all childless. Silly me. She's not even that short. She's just sitting. See, like when they're laying side by side, she's like a full-grown adult woman. Why do these people look at this and immediately think of child rape? Go to therapy. And listen, I know with anime it can get a little weird, right? Like, excuse me, Poo Poo Pee Pee Chan is 2,000 years old and this is Poo Poo Pee Pee Chan. But this does not even look like a child. This looks like a cute woman. This is like a random rant, but I feel like
they do know that like short women actually exist, right? Like there's actually are women that are like short, you know? So I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
like there are no more cute women nowadays. You know what I mean? You have all like the insta baddies, the e-thots, the e-girls, the muscle mommies, the boss babes, the boy babes. But I feel like every woman is just hot now. which, by the way, I don't think is healthy for the male psyche whatsoever. You shouldn't wake up and be able to scroll through pictures of, like, the hottest woman you've ever seen in your life, like, 20 times before you've had, like, your morning cup of coffee. You shouldn't log in and immediately be one-shotted by 10 tens all day, as if that wouldn't make you go insane, as if that wouldn't make you crash out. Like, back in the day, you'd probably see, like, one fine dame on your bus ride to work, and you'd think about her for 40 years until the day you die. That's how it used to be. That's how it should be. Now every woman is like a crazy, hot, unobtainable Instagram goddess with the fattest of ass. Zoomers don't know how good we had it. You'd go to Blockbuster, and the 21-year-old cashier behind the counter would be the most adorable woman you've ever seen. No Botox, no lip filler, just a pure soul, full of joy and whimsy. And now women are full of hate and SSRIs. But they're hot. They're hotter than they've ever been. They're hotter and more depressed than they—
That's called the Venus flytrap right there, you know? The reason why I call it the Venus flytrap, right? Is because, you know, the sweet nectar, you know, it allures you, right? But then, like, you know, when you go in or so, bam, they snap you because they got you in their claws or so, and that's where you start slowly dying or so, you know? It's the same thing when it comes to those pretty women or so who have, like, hatred inside of them, you know? So, you know, a woman is, like, pretty hot, right? That's the alluring part, right? They allure you to them, right? But then once you get into them, right? Once you got into them and got closer and everything and have kids and everything, bam, they got you in their trap or so, and they turn completely different, you know? Or they just completely turn psychopaths or so, you know, later down the line in a relationship, you know? The Dennis flytrap, I call it the Venus flytrap.
they've ever been in history. Sad. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, anime. I didn't take my Vyvanse today, could you tell?
Men's fantasy. A big titty woman with the face of a 16-year-old that is useful for cooking, cleaning, and sex. Women's fantasy. Gets treated like a queen and a man who keeps tracks of our periods so he can take care of us.
You're looking for a guy who keeps track of your period? Oh, that's kind of a little bit crazy in my personal opinion. Or you can just tell the guy that you're on your period instead of having him trying to track your period. You could just be like, hey babe, you know, I'm on my period, you know. I'm like, it's just like, you could just literally just tell him and be like, babe, I'm on my period, you know. And then, you know, okay, whatever.
I think I speak for a lot of women here when I say our fantasies do not, in fact, include men tracking our period.
Facts. Fucking facts, dude. Oh my god, man. Fucking facts, dude. Man, she's speaking facts, man. The fuck, I don't want my fucking boyfriend or my fucking girlfriend to track my fucking period. That's fucking weird. That's fucking weird, dude. Okay, I'm sorry.
Personally, if my husband was like, honey, just a reminder, you're in your luteal phase, I'm taking the kids.
Men like to pretend they want this, and then they beat their wife when dinner isn't ready or their son when he's misbehaving.
First of all, I'm sorry that happened to you. But there are in fact good men out there.
You smack your kid with a chancler, so if they're misbehaving, that's like usual Hispanic shit, you know? You want me to track your moody day? No, hell no, fuck no. Even then, you know, usually the parent would smack the kid or so with a chancla, you know, if they're doing dumb shit. But that's like Hispanic stuff, so, you know. Yeah, or with a wet fish, yeah. If I have a wet fish near me or so, I'd smack them with it, you know?
Seen them. Some may be in this very audience. Sorry, I couldn't keep a straight face. This is the shoe on head audience. You're all gremlins.
Male fantasy equals a woman that can't run away from him. A woman that's dependent on him. Interesting. When men are involved, it's basic survival instinct to assume the worst. Men are guilty until they prove themselves innocent.
You know what? I take my opinions back on free speech. I changed my mind. No more free speech. No more free speech until you bitches learn to behave.
A
Yep.
woman's fantasy is a man who won't rape her, and a man's fantasy is raping a woman.
Whoa, 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 whoa. A woman's fantasy is a man who won't rape her? That's such a lie because we just did the research. 64% of women actually do like that, so I'm just saying. I'm like, that's a pretty good hefty amount or so, you know?
A man's fantasy is a man who won't rape her, and a man's fantasy is raping a woman.
I'm sorry, where is the rape, ma'am?
Maybe that's how you see it, because you're brainwashed to hate men.
So true. I hate how.
But in reality,
Boomer.
women are the real demons here.
Oh, god damn it.
We just want a happy relationship. Is it so much to ask for?
Yes.
All these
Yes.
people, they are self-projection. The 1000% they are. Like, this is like some trauma they've dealt with such a long time, to be honest.
Yes, it is.
Oh look, more misogynistic gooner fantasy slop written by misogynistic gooner men. This is why 70% of anime is garbage.
So,
And that's why also your mom is garbage too. But, you know, I didn't say anything when I was fucking her last night.
here's the thing, that misogynistic gooner fantasy slop written by misogynistic gooner men was actually written by Saiko
Slowly.
Tanabe. A woman. A woman wrote this story. And I feel like a very important detail everyone is sleeping on when they covered this was the fact that this is very much the female fantasy as
Yeah, true. Yeah, her mom definitely should have swallowed, in my personal opinion. But hey, you know, it is what it is. Damn, and when your mom throw it back, I will catch it for certain.
well. A man loving you for who you are despite your flaws, literally
cute.
sweeping you off
That's
your feet and
adorable.
carrying you around on adventures, helping you live out your dreams, face your fears, and
those are literally relationship goals, chat. Those are my relationship goals, man. Chat.
supporting you through the good and bad times. You're going to sit here and tell me that's not the female fantasy too? Is this not the basic female fantasy? Is this not the knight in shining armor
Sorry,
coming
my
to
mind is
rescue
foggy
you
at the
and
moment.
falling in love with you? Why on earth are so many women so mad at this?
Hey,
Are
Lisa.
men now the hopeless romantics? Are men now the ones yearning for a fairy tale romance? Is this why all the Disney remakes are like, she's not gonna be saved by the prince, she's a strong, independent woman? Meanwhile, men
welcome,
still
guys.
want to be
Playing
the prince,
Minecraft.
men still want to
Oh.
be the knight in shining
watching a
armor.
video right
Men
now.
are like, I will save you from your monotonous 9-to-5 job. I will give you a house and babies. And women are like, no, I must be an
Hey,
actuarial
Lisa.
consultant. Be gone, vile misogynist. Is that what is occurring here? Also, that aside, there literally is a gender-swapped version of this story called Perfect World. It is a manga. Manga? Mango? I don't know. Do
Mango.
not come for me, weebs.
Men will statistically leave their wives and
That's funny how there's literally a gender bent version of it, of the guy being disabled and the girl has to take care of him. That's crazy how there's an opposite version of it, you know?
partners the moment they find out they're disabled or have a life-threatening condition. You're right, it is a fantasy.
Actually, that study was debunked by the authors themselves, who admitted they did the math wrong. It's actually not much higher, but then again, even if it was, and it happens, I've seen it happen to people, it's terrible. Marriage should be through sickness and through health, but that's not really the point here. And the fact that so many people are focusing on the wheelchair part of this just proves that they just don't get it. The ones of pure mind and pure soul get it, but these fucking semen demons out here, they don't get it. But not
Semen
all
demons?
semen demons.
The amount of people in comments who just don't get that men want a cute, loving girlfriend is beyond me. They call them creeps for wanting actual love and not a girl boss who only wants your money.
Ah, thank you, a sane person. Hopefully the replies aren't full of people calling her a pick-me.
Pick me alert, least obvious pick me. Me, pick me please. Hope he picks you, sis. Pick me, pick me, pick me. An incel could have written.
That's not even a pick-me girl. Bro, they don't even know what a pick-me girl is. For God's sakes, me and Sage know what the fuck a pick-me girl is. God fucking A, dude. Holy shit, dude. Being in a fucking voice call with a pick-me girl is the most annoyingest fucking shit in the entire world, man. Honestly. I haven't really interacted with him, but I've met her, so hell, don't get me started. Yeah, I know. It's like, Bro, pick me girls are so fucking annoying, dude. I hate them, dude. I hate them with a fucking passion, dude. I know, they don't know what the term pick me girl is. They just kind of say the word pick me girl, but they don't really know what the fuck it actually means.
Written this. Fuck. Why are so many VTubers either pygmies or racist?
You mean why do so many female VTubers disagree with you? Why so many aren't towing the mainstream liberal feminist NPC line? Because they can. See, the most powerful weapon women have against other women is social ostracization. You don't want to be seen as a pick-me or a racist, so you keep your mouth—
You know someone who try hard to get into a boy's pants? Yeah, that's basically what a pick-me— that's what a pick-me girl is. But then she'll move on to another one, so.
mouth shut in order to survive in female social circles. But in the cases of VTubers, virtual YouTubers, they're basically anonymous. They can say anything they want. They're basically wearing a mask. They're free from the chains of the eternal HR Longhouse. But apparently even being anonymous online does not save them, because they still get doxxed for simply not hating men. Lovely. Maybe I should save this rant for a different video someday. Moving on.
Men are why we can't have nice things, by the way.
First of all, men make all the things. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Also, I just realized it was a man saying that. It was a whole ass man saying men are why we can't have nice things.
What? An actual dude actually said that? That makes no sense. What the fuck? You're a dude. You can't say that. And you're a dude. Man, what the fuck? He's a pick me. Yeah, he's definitely a pick me guy. He's trying to get into those girls or so, those types of girls.
I don't deserve this trophy. This is for you, sir. This is for you. I am not worthy. Listen, I make women jokes. I'm very critical of feminism and propaganda aimed at women. But you will never catch me in a million years saying some shit like women are why we can't have nice things. I have a mom. I have female family members. I have female friends. Maybe one day I'll have a daughter. Women make the world a beautiful place, and like men, can be flawed and deserve criticism, like anyone else. But there's something genuinely so cucked about people who put down their own gender or race. Oh god, race. Self-hating white people. Don't get me started on self-hating white people. White people are so evil. I hate being white. White people can't dance. White people food is so gross. You're not getting into Wakanda, bro. You're not getting invited to the cookout. Enough. But yeah.
Oh god, dude, honestly, that's so funny. I think like white women, like there literally are some white women who actually hate themselves for being white, you know? It's like what the fuck? I'm like, it's kind of crazy to kind of, you know, the funny thing about it too, I've seen this before. The uneducated ones, right? They literally say, I've seen this before. So they said this: why couldn't my mom marry a different race so I wouldn't be white? It's like, I'm like, you know, you come from your dad's ball sacks, right? Yeah, no, I've seen it. I've actually seen it. The people who are literally not educated. I don't think that's how it works, man. No, that's literally not how it works. I'm like, you came from your dad's ball sack, you know? But I did see that. I actually did see that. It was a long time ago. It was a long time ago where I saw it or so. Where a girl, I think it was like some post or something like that. I don't remember. But which is like, why didn't my dad, not my dad, why didn't my mom marry, you know, some other person? Because, you know, they were birthed from their mother, right? But the origins is from your dad's ball sack, so.
Yeah, women were not the only ones who had a problem with this. There were a lot of men who didn't quite relate to this being the average male fantasy.
It's fine to love the disabled. I didn't need to remind you that. But to glorify it? This anime is certainly Marxist propaganda. The movie is
what?
about him taking a job as her caretaker, and when he learns of her dreams, he makes it his mission to help her dreams come true. So it is Marxist propaganda to help a disabled person pursue their dreams? Yeah, it's woven.
What the fuck is Marxist propaganda? What is that? Wow, I feel like they're just making up words now these days.
And empathy is the target of propaganda.
Marxism is when girl in wheelchair. I love this. Empathy is the target of propaganda. Every piece of media that makes you feel empathy is communism. Political brain rot. If you're at the point where you see this and you're thinking of communism, you need to log off. You are unwell.
I'm sorry, but when I reproduce, I don't want a high probability of my offspring being mentally or physically retarded. We need a better class of incels whose bar is higher than the retarded.
She's not retarded, she has a spinal injury that's not genetic. Also, what is this LARP? I love how everyone is just kind of having like a normal conversation about this clip, and this guy just comes out of nowhere like, I would never put my pure white seed in such a vile creature. Like, you absolutely know this guy has a non-white girlfriend. They all do. All these, like, I hate white people women always have white boyfriends. All these, I hate non-white people boys always have non-white girlfriends. I don't know what it is, but I've seen it too many times. I guarantee you when this man logs off of his Black Sun Roman statue Twitter account.
Max Turner propaganda, something like that. I have no fucking. I've never heard of it either. So that's the first time I've ever heard something like that.
He's clapping Latina booty cheeks.
My fantasy is not being a simp, but okay.
Fellas, is it simping to love a woman?
Nah, this is not the male fantasy. That man is a beta male. If she wasn't in a wheelchair, she would leave him for Chad.
Fellas, is it beta to love a woman?
This is not my-
that's some like NTR. That's like NTR fantasy right there. Apparently he wants a woman to leave him and then go with a Chad, apparently.
fantasy. This is some gay shit, to be honest.
Fellas, is it gay to love a woman?
What no pussy does to a motherfucker.
Brother, I've seen what pussy does to a motherfucker, and it's far worse.
The average male fantasy is taking care of their crippled wife. I don't think I've ever had that fantasy before. I thought it was gonna be about going on some quest to kill the dragon to win the princess or something.
It is. That is the average male fantasy. But there are
Marxism identifies a fundamental conflict between the working class and capitalist class. What does that have to do with the animation, though? That literally has nothing to do with the animation. Being in a day where the internet is basically everywhere, I think people would inform themselves about the terms means. I know, really. You know, it's funny. I had a comment in one of my videos where I didn't understand like the Nyaru, like the one comment or so from Nyaru. And you know what they told me? This is what they told me. Maybe you should stop watching, you know, Asmongold because it's hurting your brain rot. You're getting brain rotted, so to understand, you know, to understand the what this person is trying to convey. I'm like, what the fuck? Shut the fuck up. I didn't understand a thing what Nyaru was saying because it doesn't make sense to me. That's the reason why.
There are no dragons to slay. There are no princesses to save. But there is that little old lady in the grocery store who can't quite reach that top shelf. There's that heavy box the pretty girl you work with can't quite lift herself. There's that jar of tomato sauce.
It's a very like Western mentality. They use these big words, but they don't have no idea how to use them whatsoever. Like they don't know how to use it.
Your wife can't quite open. There's that Lego set your little son can't quite put together himself.
I guess
or
so,
there's this
you know.
paraplegic girl who wants to see the ocean. This is the princess and the dragon story. And despite what many are told, men do have a lot of love to give. And they want some kind of excuse or mechanism to show that love. In a world where men expressing themselves is either seen as toxic or gay. And one way of expressing that love is solving problems. Men fucking love solving problems. I don't know what it is. They also love reading Wikipedia articles. The amount of times I walked over and my husband is reading a random fucking Wikipedia article about like the world's tallest buildings or like a random battle in World War II. I didn't know if this was autism or what, but apparently it's a man thing. Anyway, yes, men love solving problems. And in a world that makes them feel useless, makes them feel like they have no purpose, men desperately feel like they need to prove their worth. They are desperately looking for a purpose in life. So it is not at all shocking to me that the modern young man is seeing a clip like this and longing for this. A lot of modern men don't have a chance to prove themselves, to make something of their lives. They don't have a chance to provide anything for anyone because they don't have anything to provide and they don't have anyone. They are doing everything their grandfathers did, but seeing none of the results. They're lost. What can they provide? And as I said earlier, her being in a wheelchair is the protector and provider instinct taken to a extreme. And yes, it is a fantasy, considering if you ask anyone who's actually in a wheelchair, they know it's not all butterflies and rainbows, and they know that it's hard on relationships. It can be difficult on their partner. But just like in the movie, it's not shown as butterflies and rainbows. Josie feels like a burden. But towards the end of the movie,
It's always been like that or so, like it's like throughout history or so, you know, what can you provide, you know, because usually women go to, you know, specific type of people, what you can provide, you know, to the woman.
He takes on that burden, not because he gets something in return, but because it's his duty, because it makes her happy, which makes him happy in return. Loyalty, duty, virtue, acts of service, big or small, men live for that shit. And yes, these are stereotypes, not everyone fits into these boxes, blah 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 blah, but for the most part it's true. When many men look at this relationship, that is what they see. And a lot of modern women are looking at this relationship and being disgusted because, in a way, it's the complete inverse of the strong, independent woman they've been sold. They've been told they need to be. The modern woman crafted by modern Disney for modern audiences. Unlike the...
It's been said many times before, a man is only valuable if he can provide. If he can't, then he's treated lower than the house pet. Yeah, it's always been like that. That's how it's always been throughout like history.
Hollywood crafted modern woman. This woman does need her man. She is not strong and she's not independent, at least physically. This doesn't mean she's like an empty vessel with no thoughts or freedom. No, in fact, in the movie, Josie does roll away from him a few times. It is a fantasy not because of a power imbalance, but because the man has a tangible purpose, and the woman is willingly and lovingly letting him fulfill that purpose.
Because I can depend on you. I know that if I ever feel frightened, I can just reach out to you.
Men simply want something good to die for,
That's
to
cute.
make it beautiful
That's
to
cute.
live. This manifests in a lot of ways, but the most common is having a loving partner and or a family. Something unobtainable to many people nowadays. So yes, literally one of the most normal things ever is becoming a fantasy. Sad. Also, men will deny this, but they absolutely have a biological clock. It may not hit in your teens or your 20s, but one day you're going to have a dream. You have a little daughter making you pancakes with your wife in the morning, and you're not going to be able to get it out of your head. And that is the male biological clock. Everything you do, the money you make...
Because you want to know something? You want to know why? You want to know why? My dad always wants females. So my dad always wants daughters. Always. Like, he just only wants daughters. You know, because that's, you know, that's basically like his male fantasy, you know? But like, you know, of course, you know, I have my older brother, of course, you know, but he didn't mind it whatsoever, right? But then like he was super happy. He was super happy, you know, when me and my younger sister came into the picture. He was super happy. Like he was generally super happy. So like it's just that's just how it is, you know? It's just like I don't understand why. I don't know. You know, I don't understand the guy's psyche or so of like why they want to have a daughter, you know? You know, because I'm not a guy, so
working that grating 9-to-5 job. It will all be for something bigger and more important than yourself one day. You will come home to a warm and happy home, greeted by people who care about you, and love you, and rely on you, and everything will make sense then. Until then, you'll just be on the internet, being called a misogynist, for wanting something bigger and more important than yourself. For wanting something beautiful and normal. And that is the average male fantasy. That and 3 hot chicks at once. Hell yeah, brother! Haha, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, yo, foursomes, let's go.
So that was that little video. Men in the comments, let me know. Am I correct? Is that the average male fantasy? Or is it not that deep? Men and women in the comments.
Well, everybody over here in my chat anyways wants their fucking harem, apparently, so. That's what most of my chatters want. They want their fucking harem. That's what they want, you know. I watched a lot of shoe on head videos. This is the first time I felt personally attacked. I can explain it. A daughter means he have a smaller version of the love of his life to give more love. I see. Fuck harems. Having a hard time with one. Yeah, but a lot of my chatters want their harems, you know.
What is your fantasy? And no, I don't mean that.
Hag,
I don't want to hear about how you
Sorry, you're in the wrong department for that. I'm poor as shit.
Want to be crushed by a 12-foot futa. That is between you and God.
Oh my. Excuse me, can you go back a little bit? Yo, go back.
Video. Men in the comments, let me know. Am I correct? Is that the average male fantasy? Or is it not that deep? Men and women in the comments, what is your fantasy? And no, I don't mean that. I don't want to hear about how you want to be crushed by a 12-foot futa. That is between you and God, not you and shoe on head. I mean, what is your ultimate?
Man, I'm telling you, man, Fuda is just the best, you know, because you get the best of both worlds, in my personal opinion. You get the best of both worlds, you know?
Dream. Do you want to travel the world? Do you want a nice big family one day? Do you want to own a farm? Do you want to live in a shed in the woods and make pipe bombs? Let me know in the comments and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye!
Sorry, I'm a food enjoyer, so my eyes have been opened wide or so from food enjoyer, so the only reason why is because like you get the best of both worlds, you know? It's a girl who literally has like, but like it's actually like a girl who has like both parts, you know? That's what makes it the best, you know? Ko mentions Fuda at least once every stream. What are you talking about? I don't mention it every single time, you know? But yeah. Anyways, that was a good video. I don't know, people going crazy or so for that specific video. I don't know, I think those people are crazy in my personal opinion. But it's Twitter, what do you expect, you know, at the end of the day? Still recovering from sickness, of course. You know, my voice has completely been destroyed or so because of sickness. So unfortunately my vocal cords are very vulnerable to sickness. That's the only problem. So I sound different right now, but my voice will probably be back after like maybe after a couple weeks. Well, once my sickness has gone away, because right now, you know, it is what it is. Yeah, take care, Boomer. Be safe, hun. But yeah, anyways, that's the end of the video. You guys can comment, like, subscribe, do all that fancy jazzy stuff. But yeah. Honestly, yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I don't see anything crazy. I saw the video on Twitter. It popped up on my feed or so randomly, and it's just kind of like, yeah, you know, I have no problem with the video. I thought it was a really good video, you know. Fuda means we can sit next to each other on snow and see whose pee-pee goes the furthest. Well, we all know the Fuda PP is probably the biggest one, you know, to be honest. But yeah, anyways, that's the end of the video. And yeah, I would kiss a Fuda any day of the week. Anyways, yeah, end of video.